Gentlemen, good morning to you all, or good afternoon, as the case may be. Let me just read really quickly from, oh wow, I went into Psalms. I really wanted to go to Isaiah. I lost my setting, I guess. Well, it's going to be something. But I was going to read from Isaiah anyway. Um, I'm going to read from Isaiah 43, verses 1 and onwards. Now says the Lord that creates you, O Jacob, he that formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I've called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the waters they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burnt, neither shall the flame kindle upon you. Huh. Um, Basically, it's saying, in a nutshell, if you belong to goodness, that is, you've committed yourself to doing things which are good, no matter what situation faces you, you will not change from doing that. That's in essence what it's saying. Ah, so it's not about outcomes. It's not about what happens to you. This is something that becomes inherent in you to do good. And I think that is what that is saying in a nutshell. If I were to break it down in much more specific terms, it's talking about having an inherent spirit within you. And as I said before in the last couple of videos, rebirth is something where it's not necessarily that everything that you've had is gone, but it's an addition to everything you have to make you more complete and more impactful on the world in doing good. See, a lot of times people think of sin as something that is something to be cleansed completely of your system. Sin means a miss or an incompleteness. So it's not necessarily that sin in and of itself is completely inherently bad. It's that it's something that is missing important components. Sin means, in Spanish, sin means without. And so once that thing is completed, then it's no longer sin, obviously. But the point is, there's something that must be added to it to make it complete. And so being born again allows you to receive certain ingredients or certain things of goodness, which make you good. Whereas you were evil before because you were deficient of those things. If you're deficient of love, what is hate? The absence of love is hate and fear. But once love comes into the equation, those two qualities now become love. And so you have to understand the absence of is more what sin is than it is the presence of. You see? Because sin is not constructive, it is destructive. And why is it destructive? Because it's incomplete. You don't have the full picture, you don't have the full story. So you can't connect the dots and come full circle. See? So that's something I just wanted to share with you guys before we go on to the DCEU. And once you understand these things, it kind of gives you a certain peace. You see? And you have to understand how everything, material or otherwise, fits into that equation of deficiency and efficiency. You know? So I'm going to leave you with that. Let's move into what we're going to talk about today. As you can see from the title, DCEU, graphic violence scenes that you may have missed, as well as we're looking also at where in Justice League, the third act of Justice League, where they went wrong, where they went south. And it was intentional what they did, but they thought it would have had a positive repercussion. But, people pick up things. So I'm going to show you where they horribly went wrong there, as well as I'm going to talk about a little bit of up-to-date stuff, Aquaman, a little up-to-date information on Aquaman. Remember, you can always join the chat section join the chat section. This is the time of day when I do my videos, and then you can join the chat section and check out what I am saying here. Currently, there are some people watching, but they have not said anything in the chat section, and that's okay. Let's get into what we're going to talk about. So first of all, in Batman v Superman, we had a graphic violence scene that you may have missed, okay? And it had to do with a missile hitting a vehicle and set off a set of vehicles, and it exploded, and then some stuff happened. And an airplane, by the way, was also crashing into a building at the same time. One of the things I wanted to say, though, was that when I put out a video about the last time graphic violence scene that was found in Man of Steel, some of you guys commented on it, and that's cool. But what you have to understand is, for those of you who are subscribers to my channel, talk about my channel is boring. I don't particularly care if my channel is boring or not. I'll be honest with you. Okay. My thing is, what am I offering you that you have never, or you haven't considered before, or you haven't heard anyone speaking about before in these movies? That's the thing I bring to the table. I bring to the table and I explore and I delve deeply into things that I don't hear people talking about concerning these movies, and things I discovered. And I like having these discussions with you guys in the chat section. Some of you are not into all of that stuff that I talk about, but I like having the discussions with you guys in the chat section, because that's what movies are supposed to do. I believe that movies are supposed to provoke discussion amongst families, amongst communities, amongst people. You go to watch a movie, you eat your popcorn stuff, you finish the movie, you say it's a good movie, but you never discuss it. All you talk about is all the, the cinematography, and this is this, and the story was good, and blah, 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 blah. But you never really discuss the movie and what it was actually saying. And my point is, it's important to discuss what exactly you watched. Really, no, discuss it, not in a flippant, superficial manner. Oh, it was a good movie, and I watched this guy do this, and this guy did that, and you're discussing people's lives. And we're not into that. We're into building better communities. This is the only reason why I'm on YouTube, okay, doing these videos. Everything I'm doing is to hopefully allow the values that really help to, improve people. That's the thing I'm trying to push and promote on this channel. Okay, I may come from a Christian background, but at the end of the day, whether you're a Christian or not, this is what I think is important. And that's why I promote these things. Okay. So anyway, Batman v Superman, graphic violence. So I know you guys didn't see this, some of you, and some of you did. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to have to blow it up a little bit. All right. So Bruce Wayne was driving through. This is in BVS. It's the same. Ground Zero. It's the same Ground Zero event in I was in Man of Steel, but seen now from a human's perspective, right? And Bruce Wayne, he speeds down this street. I think it's Griswold in Detroit. This is an actual street you're looking at here. And a missile, that's what the arrow is showing you, is a missile here, is coming down very rapidly. Now, of course, the gravity contraption is just pulling ships and planes and missiles down, right? Now, if you look here, you see three vehicles. You see a white Chevy van. You see what looks to me like a Toyota van pickup. And then you have here, looks like a Honda Accord, okay? And this missile is speeding, coming down, all right? And Bruce Wayne, he's about to turn down a side street, okay? He was going straight, but then he realizes there's this big explosion, so he has to make a spur of the moment change in direction. So here's the white van. Missile hits the white van and blows the van, well, behind the white van, blows the van up into the air. As you can see here, it's blowing also the Toyota van as well up into the air. And then you see the car on the side, okay? Meanwhile, there's an airplane flying in. Looks like an F-15 is just uncontrollably flying in at a very low altitude. We saw that a lot in both Man of Steel and BVS. And the plane smashes, as you can see here, directly into the building. You can see pieces of the plane, its wing, tail, fuselage, etc. And you can see the vehicles now. They blew up into the air and then they smashed down on the ground. If you look carefully, this is the white van here that smashed into the ground. Its tire flew up into the air. The car smashed into the ground, as well as the other pickup truck. Okay. And this is a flaming tire here coming towards us. You see some shrapnel here. Okay. Now, what's really incredible here is that if you're really paying attention and you were watching in slow motion, you see the tire fly past us, which is the van tire, and you'll see a human foot. That's the toes right there. The alcohol is in the back, and that's a human foot that that went flying by. In fact, I think there was a human arm that flew by the car first, and then a human foot, and I think that was from the van. All right, that explosion from the van. Body parts flew out of the van and they were on fire. And I thought, man, you guys probably didn't even see that because it was so fast. It happened so quickly. So I thought, you know what? Let me show this, because I was watching it in super slow motion. Okay, it was like 1/4 of the normal speed, and I was freeze framing it as I was moving through it, and I was like shocked that actually happened. Okay, and I was wondering if it was a body part from the plane, but then I realized the plane exploded after, so it wasn't from the plane. Yeah, it was from the guy in the white van. Okay, that's how graphic it is, and kind of remind me of the World Trade Center building stuff that happened. In Man of Steel, by the way, there was a very graphic moment when Superman plowed through the buildings, when General Zod blew up the car park and all the cars were coming down. There's some graphic moments in there, man. Some graphic moments. And there are people in buildings. There were people in buildings. There were people on the street. There are people in cars, okay? And, Superman smashed through a couple cars, and there were people in them, okay? Oh, yeah. It's a horrific event. And Bruce Wayne does have a sort of point that Superman, in a way, and even the people who were criticizing Man of Steel for, Superman and General Zod killing people, well, when you watch it in super slow motion, there's a lot of things going on in there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to Man of Steel one time, because I want to show you some stuff from Man of Steel. Same event, by the way. This is the same Ground Zero event. So in Man of Steel, General Zod, flings Superman crashing through these buildings, right? He's popping through these buildings one at a time, right? There's a Utopia casino right there. Really nicely put there. And as we see him actually tumbling inside the buildings as well, right? We see him tumbling inside the buildings in Man of Steel. And man, you have to catch it. I mean, it's really, really fast, but there's a lot of detail going on up in there. What is that up in the corner there? First time I'm seeing that thing. Oh, that's me probably. Okay. The red dot. Okay. Don't worry about that. Just ignore that. And you can see the damage to the buildings. I mean, this guy, literally, as he was bursting through the buildings and exploding certain things, as he's going through the building, because he's going through electrical and all that stuff. As he's going through the building here, you see the lights kind of dim off in certain parts of the building, and explosions happen at the beginning of the buildings, at least. And then, it's just crazy, man. But anyway, this is the buildings here. Now, so let's see Superman as he was crashing through the buildings. If you were paying attention, you would see a lot of stuff going on, okay? All right, let me see here. So first of all, here's Superman tumbling right here. This is a little too big for us. Let's kind of pull it back out a little bit so you can see the office building here. All right, so this is Superman tumbling through the office building. Hold on a second. There you go. Okay, I think wow. I had it really that big? It was really that big? Okay. Anyways, if you pay attention, you'll see this woman. This is definitely a woman. This is her hair here. This is her face. This is her hand holding something. And she's running out of the way of this tumbling. And this is really, really fast. Okay. This is Superman tumbling here. You can see his cape up in the air. This is his body right here. And if you look on the side here, there's a woman sitting on a chair. I think it's a woman based on just the way how this appearance is. It looks like a woman. You can't see it. It's really like a real blur as Superman blows by them. But the point is, she's trying to brace away. She's trying to get out of the way of this tremendous hurling of something here. And there's papers and all kinds of debris. The floor is being broken up as he's flying by them, crashing and tumbling by them. And he tumbles by them in that office. And then you see this guy here. He's scampering out the way. You can see him diving out the way. Anybody who's in that aisle, they're going to get dead because Superman's flying by there like about 60, 70 miles an hour, crashing through there. And you see Superman's crashing through the old office building, right? So you can see this guy, he's dove out the way. See, he's dove out the way there. Just blue pants, looks like a black shirt. And he's scampering out the way of that. All of this was happening while he was tumbling through the building. Superman's still tumbling through the building. And you see here a bunch of people. It looks like, I don't know if this is a guy. This is a guy. I don't know if this is a lady here. You can see them diving out the way, and there's another guy's leg here. They're diving out the way. Superman goes tumbling by there. All right. And then there's a woman sitting at her desk here, and she's still at her desk, and Superman's tumbling by her. Okay. And the blast and all of this debris is coming at her. Okay. So you can see that. And then, so there are actually people in those buildings. And there is Superman again. He's tumbling forward this time. And this lady here, she's on a chair and she's just kind of moving out the way again, rushing out the way. She's trying to run away out the way of Superman tumbling through her. All those people were inside this building, and Superman was just smashing through that office level, okay, of the building. And the reason why that is so is because this was not near ground zero. This was further away in Metropolis, where General Zod's World Engine, the Black Zero event, had not taken place. So these people were still at work, okay? And Superman was just smashing through these buildings, okay? It's crazy, man. It's just straight up crazy. And you know what's cool about it, though, is that actually happens in the animated television series, Justice League, Superman, even the films. And we never really took it seriously. You smash a guy through a building. Wow. Yeah, he just got smashed through a building. You're not thinking about the people that are in that building. And Zach made us think about the people inside the building and just how explicitly crazy it was to see Superman smashing through a building. And he's showing you inside the building from an angle you've never seen it before. These are shots. By the way, let me just say, freaking Zack Snyder, man. He gave us shots we never saw before. We never saw that stuff before. Never. Okay, I wish he could have slowed it down, though. Maybe super slow motion like what he did in Wonder Woman and stuff, so we could actually see the details of the shit that was going down. But he didn't want to make it that explicit. In fact, I think in Man of Steel, there was no super slow at all. But it is what it is. This is what was happening. Okay, with the Superman versus I. And it tells you the level of damage and the level of impact just one Kryptonian could do to that's why when Bruce Wayne was saying, he has the power to destroy the entire world. And if there's a 1% chance, that he's our enemy, we should take it as absolute certainty. I can understand why he says that, because Superman could, if he wanted to, he could, like he said, like Bruce Wayne said, if he wanted to, he could just level everything, right? He's got that kind of power to destroy cities one at a time, right? So, I mean, it's just, and you just look at any epic battle Superman had with any superpower being, whether it was Doomsday or whether it was General Zod. He had a lot more experience with Doomsday. Epic battle. I mean, tremendous. I mean, one General Zod versus one Superman, and they went up into the sky. They leveled buildings. This is like the incredibly terrifying to think about. All right. And then when General Zod had his, the technology and their world engine, they were terraforming the world. There, you just saw what happened in the Smallville fight. I mean, not a lot of people were killed in the Smallville fight. I gotta admit, not a lot of people were killed in the Smallville fight. This is very interesting. They managed to keep the fight mostly to the street, mostly to the road, until Namek threw that train at Superman. God, you never seen that shit before. You've never seen that shit before. You've never seen a human being pick up a train and throw it at another. I mean, I've seen something like that in X-Men where they fired off all the missiles in X-Men First Class, and then Magneto turns the missiles back and throws it back at them, but still didn't feel epic and like the way, and it's not like a to and fro between superpower beings like that. I mean, Infinity War couldn't even touch it. So hell with Infinity War, hell with Avengers. I mean, the level of epic that we saw in Man of Steel, and the level of epic we saw in Batman v Superman, and the level of epic we saw in Wonder Woman, which was facing Ares, even though that was kind of still not, Ares was a little bit, kind of funky. But, at the end of the day, the amount of epic, though, we saw in those movies, we've never seen before. And the angles and the way how the characters behave. As much as people like trying to yawn and say, oh, we never see. They go and watch the shit. They watch it over and over again. The hypocrisy of these fools. So this is what I wanted to say. Now, with respect to the DCU and what direction they're going, I can't really say that they're actually trying to compromise what they have built and established and what they're recognized for. And I hope they continue to stay in line with what they established and recognized for, regardless of what the media says. And I hope that they also release the Snyder Cut, because the Snyder Cut, from what I'm seeing, and I reported the information yesterday that Zack Snyder, he doesn't seem as though he's going to Comic-Con. Maybe he is, but his agent's probably covering for him. Either way, importantly enough, and whether that's true or not, I don't know. Batman news is not always the most authentic source. What I do know, though, is that, no matter what people say, the DCEU, why it even launched off, was because it was so unique and different from anything we have ever seen before. And some people love Man of Steel, and they love it even more now, given the fact that they've seen so much that had to do with it. It was a work of art. We've never seen anything like that in comic book movies. And in Batman v Superman, we've never seen anything like that before. And hopefully we will see that again if, Zack's working on some DC film or something, or some other director. They're different directors with different styles. But the DCEU started off, in my opinion, in the most attention-grabbing way to me ever. And it's up to them to try, Warner Brothers, to try and maintain that. I think I try to explain to Warner Brothers, I've said it, I hope somebody will get it to them. You're going to strangle your franchise. You're going to kill your franchise if you compromise on what it started with. What got you into the driver's seat was a different style, a different way of doing things, a different storytelling, something that people who starved for more realistic outlooks on superheroes and so on were happy to have seen in the age where people are just making superheroes into clowns now. And so if Warner Brothers wants to revert to what the MCU is doing, I guarantee them the fan base that they had is going to be gone, and then they're probably going to die out. Okay, so it's a warning again to Warner Brothers, because these people just don't get the memo. They have done it time and time again. They've done it to Richard Donner, and they had a dead franchise, right? They did it to Tim Burton, and they had a dead franchise. Okay, they did it to Zack. They're doing it now to Zack Snyder, and I'm promising you, if they continue along the lines of jokes and humor, which Warner Brothers they never really get that right, as much as they do it with animated films. When it comes to the actual films themselves, live action, they never get it right. If they continue doing that, they will have no universe. I guarantee you that. They'll kill off their own universe. Okay? So it's up to them. All right? They had a great start with Zack Snyder, and the fan base they have, the core fan base they have, is not these, yes men who say everything with DCU is great. Everything with the DCU is great. I never was one. Even much as I defended Justice League, I knew what I was arguing. I knew what I was saying. Okay? I said it was a solid film. I said Justice League is a film that people are bashing and so on, but it doesn't deserve that at all. I went down that road. So I have never said it was a perfect film, but I said that some of the criticisms that are leveled towards it are false criticisms. I went on to show why they're false, and that people are just saying it out of hate for either Joss Whedon or Zack Snyder as directors. I've been always very fair in what I said about the movie. I've been wrong about certain things, and that's okay. But my general breakdown of that movie, and I still love this movie to the day, and I love what it represents. But what I'm saying to people is, you have to understand, I saw everything that these other haters out there saw. Okay, I saw everything that those haters out there saw. And if you notice how I'm proceeding, I never, while that film was in theater, sought to tear it down. And I wanted to say my criticisms like I'm saying them now, but I reserved it because I realized that what would be lost in the midst of it is what Warner Bros. Should do better. And also, my criticisms would have made people think that I hated the film and people should not go see it. And those two things in the atmosphere of a negative environment was just not necessary. I could not say them. All right. Now, if you notice, my criticisms are valid, real criticisms. I'm not somebody who just comes out of hate or whatever and I make my criticism. It's very substantive. It makes sense and it's constructive. And I always tell people, if you're going to criticize something, then please make sure that your criticisms are something that other people can take to heart and truly utilize. Okay. So I just wanted to say all of that just to say that I absolutely love Justice League. Okay, I do. I love that movie. I'm glad there's a lot of Zack Snyder in that movie. It's not that's the problem. Now we are dealing with the Snyder Cut and the essential, and why I am full blown into getting the Snyder Cut, even though I know the odds are against us getting it because of the money that Justice League pulled in. The demand for this Snyder Cut is very important, and we as fans should be able to take up the slack if necessary. Let Warner Brothers know. Oh, by the way, for all you guys out there going to Comic-Con, and if you're watching this video, don't forget to put on your I Love Zack Snyder t-shirt, or if you can get a t-shirt that has hashtag release the Snyder Cut on it. Make a statement. You don't have to always make verbal statements. Make a non-verbal statement by showing how much of you support the Snyder Cut. So make sure you have that Snyder Cut on your shirt. Make sure that, because you see, what's important for Warner Bros. To understand without a doubt is that we truly back Zack Snyder putting out that film. And no matter what Warner Bros. Says, we're not going to get past this. In fact, this could affect other directors because James Wan, Patty Jenkins is next, and David Sandberg. I love these directors to death. Okay, I love them. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I want you guys to understand exactly where I'm coming from. I am not going to, as a person, I'm laying the line down so people will understand just how serious I am about the Snyder Cut. Okay. I patronized Warner Brothers, not patronized. I went and saw their movies because I saw their movies had substance in it. And I do not want Warner Brothers repeating what they have done with Zack Snyder, what they have done with David Ayer, what they have done with Tim Burton, what they have done with Superman 1978 director. I do not want them doing that to another director. Okay? This must be the first and last time. And because they've been trying to cover up what the directors were doing, and they don't even want people to know what the directors are doing, I am going to push personally for the Snyder Cut. And I was already not very, very enthused about Aquaman, but now looking at it and understanding where James Wan is coming from, I am. But I'm going to tell you this, the lashback, if they don't release the Snyder Cut, I'm warning them. As much as I love James Wan, I know what's coming. Okay, I watched these people cripple Justice League. I watched them, Warner Brothers. Okay, these people are going to go for blood. And the problem with this is, Warner Brothers, and that's what you guys don't understand. You think you're withholding information and that will protect your other movies and the continuity and flow. You're going to hurt yourself, Warner Brothers. Seriously hurt yourself. And the Aquaman film, and the Shazam film, and the Wonder Woman film, if you don't release that Snyder Cut. You're going to seriously hurt yourself. Okay? And the currency and money you're making. People are not going to let this go. This is a different era. What happened with God damn it, I forgot his name now. The Superman 1978 director, where you only got his cut 14 years after, or 10 to 14 years after that movie came out. Okay, the second one. Okay, that ain't gonna happen in this era of social media. It's not going to happen. Okay, people are rabid. Sometimes they have no sense behind them. They go for blood. And we already have detractors of Warner Brothers and the DCEU, and they'll pounce on that, and they will make a media stink. And Aquaman will sink. It will fall. And the DCU will fall. So if you are thinking Warner Brothers, and if you understand what you have made some very stupid decisions before, this is a time not to make one of those. This is a time to really think straight, because the Snyder Cut and Zack Snyder will become a stain in your side if you don't close this chapter. People are not going to take this line down. Okay, I heard some people saying they're going to Comic-Con to make a stink. They're going to just yell out, release the Snyder Cut nonstop. This is the kind of stink you just cannot deal with. Okay, Warner Brothers, as much as you're coming out with these nice, exciting movies like Aquaman, and I'm beginning to feel Aquaman now, and Shazam and Wonder Woman 84, those movies will sink if you do not address this issue in a positive way for these fans. These fans, they're not going to stop. They're only going to get worse. Okay, this thing is going to intensify, and it's going to become huge. Because Zack Snyder started the DCEU, and the least thing you should be doing, they let you off the hook with David Ayer. They're not going to let you off the hook with Zack Snyder. They're not going to. Okay? And there's a history you have with directors who have produced for you and created, made you get things that you were trying to get before, and you just could not get them. And then you treat these directors bad. And I hate to say it like that, but that's just the way it is. And I'm saying this now so that you can have the less hurt and worry later on. It's better you put out a Snyder Cut, let people bitch and moan and be like, oh, he didn't come in the movie, and this is the direction Zack had. Oh, let them bitch and moan, and then they can get back to the regularly scheduled program. Then you leave this thing open like that, and you saying, well, you're never going to see the Snyder Cut. You say something like that, or you try to parry off people. People don't want to hear that. All people want to hear is, give us the Snyder Cut. You hear that, you see the movement. It says release the Snyder Cut. You better release that thing. Okay. This is a day of reckoning for Warner Brothers. Be careful. Your very fans will destroy you. Okay. Don't go down that road, Warner Brothers. This is a warning. This is a warning, Warner Brothers. Okay. You got to understand your fan base, your core fan base. There's some yes men, or everything with Warner Bros. Is great, okay? There's some people like that. But the core fan base that has been supporting you, that is where you need your momentum from, they will not take anything less than the Snyder Cut. And I know this. And we are almost all in agreement with this, the DCEU fans. Okay, so I'm going to forensically break down, however, why Justice League inflamed certain Snyder fans. I'm going to break it down, give you the honest breakdown of why. Okay, so I'm going to go to that now. All right, this came up in the sneak peek trailer when we saw Steppenwolf looking up into the red sky. Look at that sky, first of all. It's blood red. Okay, it's creepy. But this is what Zack Snyder had in mind. So there was going to be a red sky, as DC films always have, a red sky, especially, Darkseid, associated with Darkseid is a red sky. There's going to be a red sky, okay? In fact, let me show you guys some more stuff here. In fact, a lot of these videos we saw from the sneak peek popped up in Justice League, or they were slightly tweaked. Okay, so for instance, there was going to be a red sky. It wasn't going to be a dark night or something like that. It was going to be a red sky. If you look here, this is the sneak peek on the left. This is the actual movie on your right. Okay, so in the sneak peek here, you can see here's the Batmobile. There's the this typical Snyder move where he has the the shell of the bullet is hitting the ground, and you see all that, and you can see the red in the background, right? This is the tower that got exploded. And again, you see all the red there. So there was going to be a red sky. Okay, this is the stuff that we got in the movie. Now I'm going to break down why the stuff that we saw in the movie. A lot of people talking about, oh, it's orange and it's terrible. It was orange and everything was all orange and it was kind of funky. It wasn't the orange that was the problem, first of all. Okay, it wasn't the orange that's the problem, first of all. Let me show you something, guys, something from another one of these things. Okay, so in the same Justice League movie, we had orange sky. Okay, we had orange sort of look. Okay, and this came off really wonderful. So this is what we saw in the trailer, one of the earlier Justice League trailers. I think it was trailer 1, official trailer 1, and everything looked kind of black and with the red standing out from it, and you had black hills and stuff, but they weren't finished with the CG there. Okay, in the movie we got the finished product, tweaked a bit, but we got the finished product, and it really looked fantastic, and it actually looked better than this. And this is it here, and you can see all the detailing. You can see the countryside, the green there, and it's being washed away by lava, and it feels volcanic, like volcanic ash coming on the ground, and you can see the volcanic stuff here. This is fantastic, and all the little, all the armies coming at each other, right? Fantastic stuff, right? It looks better than this any day, anytime. Okay, any day of the week, it looks better than this. So in the very Justice League movie, we got an enhancement that was better than what we saw in the sneak peek. Now, everybody knows Zack Snyder had something to do with this, and he was directly dealing with these people, and they didn't change it much. They tweaked it a little bit for Justice League. They did tweak it. It was going to have a blue hue, a little bit more of a blue tinge on it, right? And they balanced it out by adding in pinks and reds and whatever else they add for the color grading, right? And it looks fantabulous. Okay, don't even try to tell me this doesn't look good. Okay, because you'd be lying. Okay, all right. Just to sort of put an accent on what I'm saying, here is Hippolyta's sister, which I just got, Antiope, leaping into the air here. Here are all the parademons coming at her and the ships and everything. We thought there was Thanagarians in there, but it was really just another parademon. This is fantastic. Fantastic. When we saw it in the sneak peek, I was like, God damn, right? It was like, oh, we saw it in the movie. And that shit was fantastic. It was fantastic as well. Now, to be honest with you, I would have preferred if we had a little bit more of sort of this tone to it. Okay? Just a little bit more. All right? Because it kind of got a little bit murky. Okay? It got a little bit murky, but by and large, it was just fantastic to watch at, right? Fantastic. And they were all dressed in the this is the color of their actual costumes. That's what they looked like, right? All right. Okay. So it's not the orange sky that was the problem. Steppenwolf, once Steppenwolf comes through, there's going to be an orange sky. And if you go and watch BVS with the Batman Nightmare scheme, it has an orange sky as well. And it looked fantastic. All of this stuff looks fantastic, okay? Right? It's consistent with what we saw in BVS. So what happened in the third act to make it look terrible? Because it looked awful, right? Case in point, let's look at this. And you can see the difference. The difference here is we're getting colors that actually give us a headache. It's pink. We see pink. We see reds, but we see pinks in there. And that stuff instantaneously gives you a headache. This was the unfinished product, which we saw in, I think it was, which trailer was that? Official trailer 1, I think it was, where we saw Diana leaping in. And this is what we got, right? And we still had the building structures and stuff. The other thing that is just disgusting, and I hated it, was seeing that purple stuff that was moving around. Oh my God, what the hell was that? All right. So he was like, Warner Bros., what the hell are you doing? Like, you were consistent all of the way up here. This looks fantastic. What, without saying what the F, but it was one of those what the F moments, right? And you're like, well, what the hell is going on here? What the heck is this? Right? When I saw it in the Heroes trailer, I was like, what the hell is that? Right? They were trying to simulate this. Sorry. They were trying the hell is wrong with this freaking thing, man? Okay, they were trying to simulate this while keeping it less scary. All right, they wanted the kitties, the kitties. I know. A lot of you guys were angry about that. And on reflection, I was a little bit irked, okay, as well. But I excuse it because I was like, you know what? This is a fantastic story. I love that they're rescuing Batman. So this is cool. So at the end of the day, this is what irked and ticked off a lot of the DCEU fans. And top of the music that was playing, that was just sort of, it's kind of like early Warner Brothers movie. That's all, folks. That's all, folks. For them, that's what it felt like. It felt like a mockery of what Zach and Junkie XL were doing, because when they listened to the sneak peek trailer with the Man of Steel theme just throbbing and the shit and the scary and all of that stuff, and now they hear Danny Elfman's very theatrical music, and it's not, when I was recommended to Warner Bros., I was like, Danny Elfman, man, theatrical. He's going to add that theatrical element. I didn't expect him to just literally pull the Batman theme and not add anything to it. I thought Danny Elfman was going to do something a lot more, innovative, just like what Junkie XL did. I thought he was going to, even when you listen to Batman 1989, or you watch Batman 1989, he had much more darker themes in Batman 1989 than he did with Justice League. Justice League was like, what is going on here, right? And, he had some nice movements and everything, but it was not like Junkie XL and Zack Snyder, okay? So what I would say to you guys was, I immediately thought Justice League 2001, and I was like, okay, fine. I could see that happening. But it did take away from that tension, and it did take away from the threat that Steppenwolf was and the Parademons. Right? It was not that intensity because the music wasn't building up to anything. It was just kind of like here's the hero. Here I come. I'm coming to save the day. That kind of thing, right? I understand. So I got where people were coming from. I picked up all of that, immediately. Okay. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Let me just keep on following this. And why I fell in love with certain aspects of it and the subtlety of it as well, certain subtle things, movements in it, was because I realized, wait a minute. This is a tribute to Justice League 2001. And they're literally holding it to heart. And not only that, but they're also adding in a little twist, a little bit of weight to it. Because I hated when Cyborg said, you're welcome, right? You're welcome. And he's flying up in the air. And that was a reshoot, by the way. And then he starts, the lady wouldn't think. I was like, God, this feels so wacky right now. I processed it, right? Like everybody else. I processed it, but I let it slide. I said to myself, no, let that slide. Let's just see where it's going. And the point behind it is, I understood it was a different director. I understood Danny Elfman was doing the score. I listened to Danny Elfman's score before I saw the movie. I did not find it great. I didn't find it, I was not enthusiastic about it. Then I heard it in the London display exhibition, and it sounded so much more oomphy. And then when I went to the Justice League site, it felt much more oomphy, and I started to dig it. So by the time I got to the movie, I was like, my expectations had lowered significantly. Okay. I kind of expected what I was hearing. Right. And the only thing I was worried about more than that was that the story would be flaky and stupid, and that Joss Whedon would make a mockery of the thing, because I saw a couple of things that told me, oh my God, they went from the sneak peek and they changed things. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they changed things. So if you guys remember, the day before I went to see the movie, and I was dying to see it, the day before I said, if this thing is anything like Thor Ragnarok, if they fuck this movie over, I am going to be so freaking pissed. I'm going to let you guys know. And I came out with a sigh of relief because the movie was very inspiring. The Superman came back. And the thing about it was they had really done a good job of setting the tone of why we needed Superman. And so by the time I reached the end of the movie, I was very satisfied with it. So, and I knew of all the changes, and the media made a big hype about it. So it was something where, for me, it was now, okay, I know this thing. I know we're going to see Kelly Carver's lip. It's going to be terrible and stuff. And I looked to see it, and I was like, and the first thing they hit you with was Henry Cavill's lip, okay? To make sure you get acclimatized to that. And that's a pretty smart move. And it wasn't that bad. In fact, it was better than any Marvel film CGI I've seen. So I was like, okay. And then the movie was serious. It wasn't a joke fest, right? Like a fucking Marvel film, which I hate. Sorry about that. I used expletive because I hate that they make so many jokes in the Marvel films. And so it really, and I kind of got engrossed in it and stuff, and I was cool with it, right? And I thought it was a very solid film, better than Black Panther, better than Wonder Woman this year, and I still maintain that because of just how many different environments you're in, how many different cultures, how many different backgrounds. Fantastic film. Having said all of that, yes, people, I was irked, okay? This color combination, even though in the theater it was a little bit darker, hurt my eyes too. Pink, god damn, pink reminds me of cancer for some reason. I don't know why. Oh yeah, breast cancer, people. Right, the pink ribbons. Pink reminds me of cancer. I know that Steppenwolf's invading and he's a cancer and stuff. Then the other thing that really got me, the parademons were fine. The thing that got me was, one, this blub. Now, if it was just a blub, that would be okay. It's a purple blub. What the hell? And it's not done well. Okay, Zack Snyder films, they get their CG so organic and well. This is not that. You can see it's CG. Oh my God. You could tell Whedon made them do that shit to take away from the creepiness and the metallic creepiness that this movie had. That pissed me the shit off. It pissed me off. You remember when I saw the Heroes trailer, I saw the purple blow. I was like, what the hell is that? All right, so just saying, the problem was when they mixed the colors, they decided to take off the steam and the weight of what the situation was, and they made the fucking thing into a pink Christmas tree. These look like fucking fireflies, right? Sorry about the curse words. I get it. I understand why you guys were kicked the hell off. Okay, but I didn't see it like that. Okay, I understand where you guys were coming from. The nice thing about it though is they kept the metallic sort of look even here. But when we got to Steppenwolf's lair, they fucked that shit up terrible. Okay, they made it into a clay lair, and on top of that, Steppenwolf and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, anybody who's inside that lair looked like they were detached from it. It looked like they were in front of a CGI green screen. That shit looked terrible. Not to tell, I mean, there's just no way to put it. That was the worst CG effects I've ever seen for a DC film. It'd be great for a Marvel film because they don't give a damn about their CG. But when it comes to DC, the standard dropped miserably. Let's just be real here, okay? Again, I'm being very critical, and I'm letting Warner Brothers know with no uncertain terms, this is the stuff we as DC fans picked up. Okay, a lot of DCEU fans were not able to verbalize why they felt disgusted with the film. And it's strange because these are just the few moments where it fell visually. Not necessarily in terms of substance, but visually. So I'm saying all of this to say that when you try to make things kid-friendly, Warner Brothers, which you've been trying to do for the longest while, I don't know why the hell you want to do that, seeing that it's outside of the character's MO, and on top of that, it's not your MO. That's not what Warner Brothers is known for, okay, in movies. And you're dealing with a director who is not pushing for that. Why the hell are you trying to compromise that stuff? This is the thing I'm saying. Dave Ethan, shout out to you, Dave Ethan. I know you're going to be like, what are you doing, Anson? And I'm like, no, you have to say these things because they're going to try and do it again in another movie. And they've been consistently doing it over the years, and they've been consistently getting it wrong. Okay? This is not Wonder Woman. This was Justice League. This was not Patty Jenkins directing. This was Zack Snyder. Why are you trying to make a film what it is not? You can't do that with a director. You have to let the director do what he's doing. Otherwise, don't hire him. Because they're going to try to do this again. So, one, you owe us a movie, Warner Brothers, in a way. What I mean by you owe us, you don't owe us shit, but what I mean by that is, one, Zack Snyder's full vision is not on the screen. I know I was saying Zack Snyder's full vision was there for Justice League. No, it's not. Okay, and we know this from deleted scenes that we've seen. This movie was supposed to be embracing and encapsulating so much more than what we saw on the screen. Really. As a matter of fact, the people who said this movie was good, but it should have been so much more better, they are absolutely correct in this case. All right, and I agree now wholeheartedly with those people. I don't bash this movie still, but I'm pointing out where you went wrong, Warner Bros., in your decision-making process, which you continuously do, by the way. Unless the movie is designed in a certain way by a certain director, you don't go against that director to try and sanitize the movie. You just don't do it. You got David Sandberg. He's going to be doing something that will appeal to children. But if he is edgy in any way, you don't take away his fucking edge, man. You let him be edgy. We have James Wan. He's doing Aquaman. And if James Wan decides this is going to be horrific here and it's going to be graphic and horrific, you let the guy do what he does. You do not interfere with what he's doing. And that's what annoys me. These people are cognizant and children will be going to watch these movies too. They know that. They're not kids. They know what they need to do. And they're trying to give you a product that you would be proud of and they would be proud of. So stop it. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself with a huge backlash and no DCEU. You're gonna find that happening because the people who came and gravitated to the DCEU did so for a reason. And if you're trying to open out your base, you better satisfy those people first. Because those are the people who will broaden your base for the DCEU. Those are the people who will actually allow your DCEU to thrive and prosper. Even to this day, there are people like me who love Justice League. All right, I have close to 3,000 people right now in a group on Facebook. That's a small amount, but it's still a lot who love Justice League. And because we were vocal on it, it did not crash and burn. Otherwise, your movie would have tanked. It would have tanked big time. But you at least made some money off of it. Small amount of money, but you made something. All right. We understand you probably don't have money to finance the other Justice League, that Zack Snyder's cut. Understand, because of the destructiveness of some people. But at the end of the day, if you don't want that to happen to Aquaman, then you better release the Snyder cut. So how do you do it? You don't have to release the perfect Snyder cut. What you have to do is release Zack Snyder to have the freedom to pursue his movie and finish it off. You don't have to finance shit. Your job is simply to make sure that it comes out. Even if it's an incomplete version, whatever. Let it be out there. And then we as the fans will have to take up the slack because we understand you didn't make money off of Justice League. So we don't expect you. We just don't expect you to finance further, to dig deeper in your pocket and finance anything. All right, for this movie. We don't expect you to do that. That's going to have to come out of pocket of our hands because unfortunately, holistically speaking, we are the ones that put you in that financial position. So once again, I'm not mad at Warner Brothers if they say, well, we can't finance that. It's fair enough. But at least release the property so that Zack can continue it and finish it. All right. Otherwise, you will have a stink that you cannot recover from. Neither can your universe. And I love these directors. I love James Wan. I love David Sandberg. I love Patty Jenkins. But I also love Matt Reeves. I also love directors who are also outside of the DC universe who have been speaking up about the art of doing filmmaking. Okay? I am all for those guys because I am about art first And then, because I myself do art, so I'm about art first. And because it's good art, people want to see it. Okay. So I believe in that first. And I think Warner Brothers, that's what you guys try to promote. You know, you want to make your money at the same time, but sometimes you have to take that risk. All right. Because if you don't, and you try to play it safe and you try to do what Marvel is doing, you're going to get an epic backlash. You already see people taunting Aquaman and linking it to Disney's Nemo. You know why they're doing that? Because they're saying, fuck you, Warner Brothers. Fuck you. This is not what we want. That's what they're telling you. The lashback will be horrendous if you do not release the Snyder Cut. So I'm breaking down to you and trying to be nice, because this warning needs to be, it is a shut across the bow. Warner Brothers, you have to take the information, learn from it, or you are going to fall. Not just the universe, but your films, your DC films that you put out, your comic book movies. You think we'll just cancel that and we'll do standalones. No, fuck no. Nobody's going to watch your shit. That's what's going to happen. Because after your universe falls, people are going to say, fuck you, Warner Bros. And they're going to just forget you. Okay? So be careful what you ask for and you push for. Okay? I don't care if you're executive. I don't care who you are. Do not fuck with the fans. They will fuck you over royally. Okay? I'm using F words so you can get the point. It's strong language so you will learn, because you haven't learned. All right? You haven't learned. All the stink about BVS and BVS stink that the media put out there, and certain people, and said it was the worst comic book movie of all time. Guess what? Your core fan base loves that movie. The people who support you love that movie. So if you're not in touch with the people who support you and you're trying to go mainstream, you will fucking be nothing very soon. You better first deal with the people. Don't try to hoodwink them. Deal with the people who support you, because you try to bullshit, they'll smell it. They're not stupid people. And they're not blind followers like Marvel fans are. Marvel can give their fans shit and they will just gobble it up. That's not the case with the DCEU people. They're smart people. Okay? So if I were you, I would learn very quickly, release that Snyder Cut as fast as I can. And then after that, they're going to be at peace with these people. And try your best, your honest best, to let the vision of the directors come out. You know they're going to come back after they get the Snyder Cut. They're going to ask for the Ayer cut. They're going to ask for David Ayer's cut. And they're not going to stop. So you're dead either way. Okay? So it's not just what's at stake right now is not just the DCEU films. They can shut you down for 20 years. You're not putting out a comic book movie. So if I were you, I would start now thinking about consequences to your actions. And we love James Wan. We love Patty Jenkins. Wonder Woman's a fun time. If you try to put out Wonder Woman with these people behind you, you're not going to have a movie. Okay. So if I were you, Warner Brothers, I listen to the fans. Okay. Now, after I saw the sneak peek, I was happy. I was thinking that, oh man, Junkie, Whedon and Elfman, they're going to do just fine, because this sneak peek was theirs. This just turned out the sneak peek was not theirs. It was Zack Snyder and Junkie XL. The shit was off the charts. It looked great. And then what we got after that, the Heroes trailer, which was not that great, it was because the trailer people patched it together. It was because Whedon and Elfman had started to work on the shit. Okay? So what I'm saying to you guys is, Warner Brothers, I thought that I was wrong. Elfman and Whedon would pull off something better. It turned out that they didn't. Okay? They gave you a much lesser quality film than Zach was originally doing with Junkie XL. By the way, you guys better kiss Junkie XL's behind, because trust me, the fans want to hear his music. They don't want to hear nobody else. The fans are going to come the fans are going to rain hell on you guys if you guys don't make these adjustments. All right, they're going to rain hell on you. Okay, so you might as well start caving in on them and giving in to their demands, and they're going to be very demanding. But I suggest though that you don't put and take anything out of your pocket, because they need to pay for something. You know, right? They need to pay for the negative PR that they gave to your film. All right, which I thought was undeserved. Okay, I don't think it was a bad movie at all. And so that one thing I concede, and I think that it should be them out of their pockets to finish off the movie if they so want it, you know. But other than that, I think it's only fair that you at least allow the license for that thing to be released. People are going to ask about it in San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to be a hot issue. It's going to be a hugely hot issue, because even people outside of the DC fandom, outside the core DC fandom, are now interested in seeing this cut. So it's going to be a big thing, and if you don't address it, Warner Brothers, it's going to be a stink on you, and it could bring down the DCEU. The same guy that brought the DCU into being could close it down. So if I were you, I would seriously think about how I address this. I don't suggest again to Warner Brothers they put a single dime to this movie, but the one thing I would suggest is that you make sure that you allow through your license the movie to be released. I think that's a fair trade-off. That it's released. Jay Oliver. I like Jay Oliver because he was working on the movie and working on several of your projects. Warner Brothers. I think he's fair enough to be bringing this charge forward. I think Zack Snyder wants it as well as the other people, and I would really love to see that happen. And whatever it takes for the money and the funding to come in for this movie, that to leave that, just allow for the movie to come forward, the permission to be granted to Zack to finish the movie, and then from there on in, it's going to be now on Zack and us as fans to make sure that the movie gets completed if we want to see a completed version of it. And the resources and tools that need to be paid for, we make sure that we have that money to pay for it. And from then on in, it will still be in your hands, Warner Brothers, to sort of put it out there because it's a property of yours. However you want to put it through New Line, whatever, get it, put through and let the fans see it. And I'm telling you, the fans who want to see this movie, they will be so happy when they see it. Trust me. That would be like the best thing you could have ever done for them. The only thing they will have in their minds is, why didn't you just let this movie come out instead of, what came out? And then the other thing would be, will you do this nonsense to some other director in the future? So they'll be worried about that and wary-eyed about that. So those are the two things I got to say to Warner Brothers. So I'm highlighting why. It's how they mixed and blend these colors and put in these pinks. And I knew it was a compromise because we knew it was a big, rich red sky. And you actually see pieces of that here, where the sky is now nice, rich, and red. And in other places, it's pink. Okay? And that there's a compromise somewhere there. Now, the problem with this is this does not, it kind of looks like concrete, but it doesn't give us a creepy feel like how this did. And that's because whoever was doing the CG here got an instruction to take it down so that, again, it'd be kid friendly, so it's not as spooky. Okay, and even the color palette here, they almost feminized Wonder Woman too much here, whereas here she looks like a real warrior and you can see her full expression. Here they sort of took it off and made her more of a sexy model, so she looks more sexy here, and that was, again, bullshit. I cry bullshit on that. All right, I'm just being real with you guys because I saw all of this in the movie. Now, you knew this was a reshot scene. The reason, if you look here, Aquaman leaps with his two legs behind him. Here, he's leaping side on. So Joss Whedon reshot this. This is a reshot scene. And again, we have the red sky. This looks pretty good with the black plumage here. And that freaking purple shit, I hate it. And then it's just so freaking out of place. It's just, there's nothing. Here, this is even more epic because you see Cyborg's feet and stuff, and it looks almost like a vehicle in the sky. Aquaman leaping 2 feet and forward. Paradigm is coming down there, and you can feel the speed, the physics of the motion, and the reflection on the ground. Now, this guy was going to be red, but let me show you guys something. So I think I have to come out of this. To show you it. So the sky was supposed to be red, no doubt about it. Let me show you from here what I'm talking about. Okay. So for instance, here, see this red sky here? See that red sky? See how that rich, deep red? That's the red we saw in well, not red, but orange red that we saw in BVS. How scary and cryptic it looked with the parademons coming down from the sky and everything with the Batman nightmare scene. It was supposed to be scary, and the music was supposed to be scary and intense. And they made this shitstorm here. Look how unclear this is. They clusterfucked it with a whole bunch of shit, so you couldn't see, what Zach did. It's like Whedon said, I'm going to cover up all that shit. And then Whedon sort of changed up some of the angles on shots and made them less effective. I don't know why. Why would you take the pinnacle scene in the movie and fuck it up? I don't know why. But they did. And they did a very successful job of that. So here is the scene here where here's the tower being blown up, and this was in the sneak peek. Looks fine and everything. Let me just zoom in a little bit. There you go. That's nice and clear. Look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? And you see the Batmobile there and the parademons chasing it down. And then we have this. It's almost like a fuck fest. Sorry about the F word, but that's the way I feel. It's these things that irked me out. Okay, when I was watching Justice League, I let it slide, but I literally, I saw it. I was kind of ticked off, and then I just let it go. Especially the purple stuff. What the hell is that? It wasn't supposed to look like a transparent crystal. It was supposed to look like almost a growing arm, that was coming out and was ugly, And by the way, this movie was beautiful. I gotta tell you, even with the bullshit that was in it, it was a beautiful film. Okay, but it felt like Guardians of the Galaxy suddenly popped into. That's it. It felt like fucking Guardians of the Galaxy popped into a DC film, and all of a sudden we're getting this goopty ga and all these funny looking things, and it never was there in the Great War. So how the fuck this stuff starts happening like that? Okay, and if you look at the scene inside of Steppenwolf's lair from the sneak peek, and then you look at it in the movie, how everything just went like if it was an egg that popped or something. It wasn't supposed to be so. It was supposed to be growth, and it was supposed to be scary and spooky. And Whedon did something and fucked it up. Okay, I'm not gonna joke. He fucked that scene up. Okay, now strong language, and you guys might be like, "Oh God, is he serious?" And I'm like, "No, I'm dead serious about that. That scene was messed up from what it was. It's a step up from a Marvel film, though. Okay, I'll give you that. Okay, but still, oh my God, that was terrible. Okay." So I was watching that, and I was watching the action with the tower falling and Batman with the Batmobile, and then I'd see this goopty guy, and I'd be like, "Oh God, what's the heck that?" And then I would go back I'd just be zoned back into the movie because I'm dialed in now, and I'm watching the stuff, and then, "Oh God, what's that?" Those moments when you're like, "What the hell?" The what the hell moment, and then you're like back to normal again. Okay, and you're like, just fall in the film. So I just want you guys to know, I did see that, I did feel it. Okay. But I didn't let it stab me, and I just stayed in that moment like, what the hell? This is fucking wrong. I got it, and then I just kept on moving on with the story. Okay, so I just want you guys to know it irked me as well. Okay. But I was following the story. And the nice thing about this, what made it easy to follow, is because they established the story earlier on. So you're invested in the story. So even when you're seeing this goopty ga bullshit, you kind of just look past it and just keep on going. That's why I said this movie's solid. All right. It has weak points, no doubt about it. But I didn't get caught up in the weak points of the movie because there was a bigger theme going on. And I'm not shallow like that. You get what I'm saying? So you guys would understand what I'm talking about. There was the what the F moment. But in the middle of that, there was also this value and this stuff, and Batman he's committing suicide right now, and he has these parademons chasing him down, and you're wondering, man, God, are these parademons gonna kill this dude? And then he goes and says, son of a bitch, as he's about to die, and I'm like, geez, this guy is a brute to the end. So I was kind of caught up in the moment while still seeing this. You get what I'm saying? I don't hate this movie by any means, but I'm pointing out why people got hung up on certain things, because people are like that. All right. And this scene here just I can just imagine. I can just imagine. So you see that this is this. Look at this. Look, this is what I'm talking about. See the black sky and how purple that shit is. I remember when we saw the sneak peek premiere, Aquaman came down the building, and people were like, "Red sky." Well, yeah, it was going to be a red sky. Okay. But see, now this is not complete. Clearly, it's not complete. They still have some more work to do. But here, this is almost fine, except for this. Oh God, the purple gooptiga and all of this bubbly. What is this? Froth? Terrible. Okay, terrible. They didn't. It. You could have had the same action here, the same animation, but just how they colored it weakened it. And they knew this going in. And said, you know what? Guardians of the Galaxy does this. You'll feel like you can eat it. It's ice cream cone for the little kiddies. And they tried to pull that off in the middle of a serious tone film. You can do that in Guardians of the Galaxy because of the tone of the film. You cannot do that in a serious tone film and expect it to have this the epic moment. The action's going to carry it. It doesn't work like that, Warner Brothers. Notice my constructive criticism. I'm not saying I hate it. It's bullshit. No, I'm telling you why you went wrong. Why? Even with the even with this orange-ish red sky, this could even be passable if you had these graphics here in order. That's where you failed. It was epic to watch the building fall down, Batman shooting at the parademons, and they get knocked down by the. All of that was epic. It's this stuff here. Even this sky looks acceptable, even though this looks better. This is foreboding. The definition of the sky is much more foreboding. The rich red and orange color that you took out to try and dampen the effect and dampen the horrific effect. The dark shadowings here. This feels like a horror film. Here, this feels like, I don't know what the fuck this feels like, because the horror is gone from here. You lit it up like if it's a Christmas tree, and then the sky's not foreboding anymore, and then you made it a comedy fest with this purple shit that you put in and this froth. So you took the suspense and the drama out of the pinnacle scene. The flame behind here is fantastic. The parademons, the smog, that's all fantastic. These buildings needed to be darker. This was a dark moment. You had to keep it in line with Batman. Batman's not a light character. You could even have the sunlight in the background there because it's day, but this is covering of the dark sky. She had to keep it dark, and you did not do that. And that's where you failed. And that's where you failed the fans. Let's go a little bit further. Look at this. Again, plumage, dark sky. And they took that and they fucked it up by putting in, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what the hell that is. It gives me a headache because, again, the pink in it gives me a headache. I instantaneously get a headache. And then I don't know what kind of color match and color code you was trying to do, but this building does not even look real. And on top of it, I don't know if you were trying to aspire for darkness. I don't know what the hell you were trying to do, but it looks terrible. You got golden sparks with pink sparks, with a pink sky, with gray, with this guy doesn't even look like he fits into the picture, with the background that doesn't even fit in. This stuff looks terrible. I remember first seeing it when they were advertising for Batman. And at AT&T, it was an AT&T ad, and we saw it, and I was like, what the hell is this? What's this? And then some people were like, I don't know, maybe they're not finished with the graphics and stuff. And I was like, you know what, maybe they're not finished. Because what's that? Well, it really was finished. And it was terrible. You tried to go for resolution. They say Marvel films have great resolution. So you tried to push the Marvel style on us. And it just completely backfired. Okay? Completely backfired. That's why the third act, God, it's just terrible. All right? When it comes to DC, the graphics, I mean, the Enchantress scene in Suicide Squad was significantly better than that. And that was the worst graphically presented scene we had seen in the DC universe so far. Now you just beat back Suicide Squad. It's worse than Suicide Squad. It's the worst graphics I've ever seen for a DCEU film. Worst. Bar none. And that's just the truth. And so, and I'm being very objective here. I'm not trying to hate on anything. That's just the way it is. And I couldn't come out with my criticisms the way how I'm criticizing them now because your film was in theaters and it was already getting a lot of negative flack. So I didn't want to tear into your stuff, right? Shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to you guys. I don't know if you guys are seeing this. Okay. David says, all right, you said, brother. David says, it's all right, Anderson. You're just being honest. David says, if this DCU falls, then so will other comic book movie franchises. That'll be bye-bye comic book genre. It's possible, man. It's possible. Hello, Anderson and Dave, Nimish PK. Shout out to you, Nimish. It's possible, but my point is this. So that people will get it. My point is, some people do not know. They really don't know what attracts people to comic book movies. And in Warner Brothers, they're clueless on that. Clearly, they bloopered twice. Okay, they bloopered with Suicide Squad and they bloopered with Justice League. Okay, and they bloopered with Batman v Superman. These people are disconnected from what makes a movie fantastic. They thought they knew what it was, but they don't. And so it takes a fan who really is invested in the DCU to begin to give them a reality check of what the situation is, that they're playing around with stuff that's really, really good, but they're playing around with it in a way where they're clueless about what they're doing. That's the executives. The executive arm continuously sabotages the universe that they're in. They sabotaged Batman v Superman. They sabotaged Suicide Squad. And now they sabotage Justice League. Okay? And these people need to learn to keep their hands off of what a director's doing. You hire a director to do something, let him do what he's doing. They kept their hands off of Man of Steel. Yeah, it got negative flack in them, but it is what Zack Snyder's vision was. They then tampered with Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and now Justice League. Okay? And every time they've tampered with the film, it has done shitty. It did less than it would have done with the director in charge. Okay? They brought in Mr. Schumacher. You guys hear me with a passion how I hate Schumacher's depiction of any of his Batman stories. Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. And the reason is very specific. I am very specific about my reasons why I don't like Schumacher. Schumacher made fun of the Batman character. All right? And there's a time and a place for that. Okay? They've done it successfully with their Lego movies. They were able to make fun of the characters of their Lego movies. But you can't do that in live action when you've set the tone for really seriously delving into a character, unless the character itself is funny. All right? Flash has been a funny character, and the tone has been set for him to be funny. Shazam is a funny character, so the tone has been set for him. Aquaman is not a funny character, but he can do some funny things. Okay? And so as a result of that, he can be funny, but he's not trying to be funny. All right? So my point being that how you deal with a character. This was the Justice League up against a serious threat. The threat cannot be trivialized and made to be funny. You can't do that. All right? Marvel fans are sold on Marvel products. So whatever Marvel decides to do with them, that's the MCU, they'll take. It's not the same case with DCEU fans and a growing DCEU franchise. DCEU fans have been introduced to the franchise because the franchise took the characters seriously. Okay? So that's the difference. Okay, it stopped raining. Great, I can go out to work. So I wanted to just express this. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the update on Aquaman. James Wan talked a little bit about how Aquaman was a little bit different to Superman. Okay, and he went into detail again about how his body is very sturdy. So while you can shoot Aquaman and you can get past his skin and he will bleed and stuff, you know, his body, his muscle mass is so strong. His muscles are so strong, the bullet will not go straight through his muscle because he lives thousands and thousands and thousands of feet below the surface. So there's huge amounts of pressure underwater. That's why Aquaman can jump so high, because he literally, when he comes on land, his muscles are so well developed that he actually can do things that are more superhuman. He can jump higher than other human beings. He's super strong, etc. All right. So that's a difference, a physical difference between Aquaman and Superman. I thought it was really cool to hear James Wan say that. I also believe that James Wan is taking this Aquaman character very seriously, and that's what I like. And yes, there is a tone set for Aquaman. He's kind of, there will be some fun and some laughs, and it will be an adventure film. It will not be like, it will not be like Man of Steel, but there will be some sublimity in it. There will be some tragedy in it. There'll be some pain in it. There'll be that journey as well. But I do believe Aquaman is more of a free-flowing kind of guy, and so as a result of that, you're going to get a lot more of a sort of Indiana Jones adventuresome sort of story. So it's like he said, more like Pirates of the Caribbean, sort of like, but with the danger and threat and the scary thing, like Pirates of the Caribbean, pretty much. So it's going to be interesting, and the world underneath there, if they're going via the Clone Wars kind of route, kind of thing, it's going to be really nice. And it looks like they have different settings and different ways of portraying pictures and visuals, and so it's going to be really fantastic. There's like a whole new world underneath the sea, and then there's a whole new world above the land, and so I'm just very intrigued, because I know they're going to be on the land as well, and they're going to be chased by certain people, and then there's all these different creatures underneath the sea, some that really are terrifying, and so it's going to be a fantastic ride, I think. I don't know how, there's just so many different things. Now, Aquaman has already been attacked by various people. I even started, made a little joke about it being close to Finding Nemo. That's not really cool for Warner Brothers, okay? They are constantly, their movies are being attacked by people, and this is another thing I do not like. None of their movies are getting a fair shake. People are trying to really tear down their movies and destroy them from the get-go. And the detractors are behind this, no doubt about it. They're the ones that present the stuff. But at the end of the day, I do believe that Aquaman is probably going to surprise all of us in terms of how fantastic it is if James Wan gets his vision out there. Once James Wan gets his vision out there, it's going to be fantastic, okay? And I'm looking forward to Shazam. I think Shazam is going to be funny as hell. Probably going to be the funniest DCEU movie out there. But yet with a lot of heart and a lot of soul to it. It really looks like it's going to have a lot of heart and soul to it. So I'm looking forward to Shazam in many different ways. I think it's a much deeper movie than we think it is. So I'm absolutely looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Shazam. I'm looking forward to Aquaman. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman 84. And I'm looking forward to these films. But I just want Warner Brothers to understand without a shadow of a doubt, you cannot be doing this to the directors. You can't be doing this. And then trying to cover up. Nobody's going to let you cover up, man. All right. And the negative press is going to really try to jump on you as well, because everybody's advocating for MCU. Everybody's advocating for Marvel. Everybody wants Marvel to succeed. They don't want you to succeed. They don't care about you. They have you as a big spectacle, and they want to destroy you. So if I were you, Warner Brothers, sorry, I understand you're under assault and attack, but you make some really stupid decisions at the same time. You're making stupid decisions to try and marvelize the universe. That's not the answer. The answer may be that you need a little bit more, you're starting to balance off certain things in your universe. That's fine. But to tell me that you're going to forsake the core base to try and satisfy a larger audience is just dumb. You'll lose both. Okay? That's all I got to say. I ain't going to say no more. And talking about a new phase in the day, phase 2, you ain't ready for phase 2. Okay? You're not ready for phase 2. Bring out the Snyder Cut first, and then we can talk about phase 2. And it's cool, though, that Aquaman will have a different look. because of a different director. I love all of that stuff. I love to hear all of that. Okay. But at the end of the day, I really don't give a damn if you guys are not releasing the Snyder Cut. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. All right. So that's all I got to say today. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat section. Oh my God. So Dave Ethan says, how's it going, Nimish? And then Seika Dutta says, hashtag release the Snyder Cut. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Dave Ethan, I truly hope that Warner Brothers sees your videos. Dave Ethan says, hey, heart and soul. Nice big references. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, no, Shazam. I'm looking forward to Shazam, man. I'm really looking forward to David Sandberg's film. I do think David Sandberg's going to have some edgy stuff in there. That's going to happen. I'm pretty sure about that.